Good day everyone, my name is Irene Jean Manala and I am here to tackle about the philosophical perspectives of modern philosophy. Modern philosophy of education is a diverse field that encompasses many different types of educational philosophies. It's an approach to modern schools that focuses on the what we should teach and the curriculum aspect. These educational philosophical approaches are currently used in classrooms all over the world. So when we say modern philosophy, it determines the aims, contents, and methods of education. It defines the role of teacher in the educative process. Construction of curriculum, definite ideals, nature of the society, and civilization are to be kept in mind. So there are three philosophical perspectives currently used in educational settings. The first one is perennialism, the second one is progressivism, and the third one is humanism. The first one is perennialism. Perennialism advocates for seeking, teaching, and learning universal truths that span across historical time periods. The aim of education is to help students know and internalize the ideas and values which are universal and lasting. The focus on knowledge is on knowledge that is perennial, which means ideas which has endured through time and space. The role of schools for the perennialist is to train a group of intellectual elite. The perennialists also favored a subject matter-based curriculum where the students are incrementally taught the skills and inculcated with a disposition to appreciate the classics. So when we say perennialism, it refers to something which is of permanent importance. It values knowledge that transcends time or the knowledge that lasts long. They believe in unchangeable ideas, knowledge, and values. The goal of a perennialist educator is to teach students to think rationally and develop minds that can think critically. This philosophy of education emphasizes understanding of great works of art, literature, history, and other fields as timeless pieces of human development that everyone should understand in order to create stable shared culture. So the example of this philosophy are reading, writing, speaking, and listening. This emphasizes in the early grades to prepare students study literatures, history, and philosophy in the later grades. Lecturing, questioning, and answering are the common instructional methods that the teachers could use inside the class. Perennialism was originally developed first by Thomas Aquinas on 13th century. In this philosophy, teachers use materials that is good for the students rather than what the students like, which means teachers use instructional materials and instructional methods that they think students have to know and what they need to know instead of students satisfying their own by learning what interests them. So we can say that perennialism is a teacher-centered philosophy of education. So the second one is progressivism. Progressivism focuses its educational stance toward experiential learning with a focus on developing the whole child. The belief that reality is always changing and that knowledge and values are relative shows the influence of pragmatism. A democratic system is maintained throughout with the students working collaboratively in groups, sharing ideas and resolving differences through dialogue and guidance from the teacher. So when we say progressivism, it focuses on the child rather than on being the subject. So this philosophy or this theory is concerned with learning by doing, that children learn best when pursuing their own interests and satisfying their own needs. Progressivists believe that people learn best from what they consider the most relevant in their lives. It centers on the students' needs, experience, interests, and abilities to provoke their curiosity. So we can say this philosophy or this theory is a student-centered philosophy of education. The proponents are George Sanders Peirce, William James, and John Dewey. Teachers determine the students' interests. In this philosophy, teachers determine the students' interest. They only facilitate or guide students in the class. So they are like facilitator in the class. The example of this philosophy are hands-on project, experiential learning, group work, and development of social skills, collaborative and cooperative in learning project. This emphasizes activities and experiences and collaboration rather than doing or make students do individual activities. So the third one is humanism. Humanistic education is a humane approach to education, one that helps students believe in themselves and their potential, that encourages compassion and understanding, that fosters self-respect and respect for others. Humanistic education teaches a wide variety of skills which are needed to function in today's world. Basic skills such as reading, writing, and computation, as well as skills in communicating, thinking, decision-making, problem-solving, and knowing oneself. Students will learn best what they want and need to know. That is, when they have developed the skills or analyzing what is important to them and why, as well as the skills of directing their behavior towards those wants and needs. They will learn more easily and quickly. So when we say humanism, this educational theory believes in teaching the whole being of the child, not just physically, but emotionally, or the whole being of the child. The proponents of humanism during Renaissance believed that human being could be dramatically changed by education. So they believe that the knowledge that we have now could be changed through time. This philosophy, or the proponents of this philosophy, are Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. So this philosophy is a student-centered, just like progressivism, but unlike progressivism, humanism rejects the idea of group-oriented education since they uphold the idea of individual development. A humanist approach that will help students to focus on their emotional well-being. Humanist believes on the importance of the inner world of the learner and places the individual's thought, emotions, and feelings at the forefront of all human development. Teachers believe that it is important for students to be motivated and engaged in the materials they are learning, or they are curious about what they interest on learning. They also believe that learners are free-willed, fundamentally good, and capable of achieving their best when the ideal learning environment is produced where it caters social, emotional, and cognitive needs of the learners. So that's the end of my discussion about the philosophical perspective of modern philosophy. I hope you learned something from this video, and thank you for listening.